button. We are recording, so that way this recording can be accessible off of our website later, so you'll notice that we are doing that. A couple of things, just a reminder that everyone is on mute, so if you go to share or ask a question or anything like that, make sure that you unmute yourself. That button on my computer is located at the lower left corner, so I don't know if that is the same for everyone, but for those who have video, we'd love to see your faces whenever you talk or share, but if you don't have that capability, we fully understand. And awesome. We're going to just jump right on in today and not waste your time. If you have any questions about ICF or our chapter in Cleveland, please let me know. Our chapter program meeting is next Friday, actually, and Kay Peterson's going to be presenting on our learning styles and how our learning styles affect our coaching and what that looks like in the coaching world. So that's going to be really, really cool opportunity. We'll do a roundtable check-in, just give everybody an opportunity to check in, let your voice be on the table, so to speak. If you can just share with us your name and how long you've been coaching, what type of coaching you do, and maybe where you're from, that would be helpful. All right, so I will let Chris Palcho go first because I see her face and I know her. So Chris, you're up.
Great, and unmuted. Oh, hi everybody. I am in the Cleveland chapter. I reside in beautiful Kent, Ohio. Presently, I'm an internal coaching consultant within a division of the federal government, the FAA specifically. As an internal coach, there's a bit of marketing we have to do, but there's kind of a constant stream of clientele that we can kind of tap in. The meeting today, or the conversation today, is to rip off and duplicate a few ideas for the marketing piece for my work outside of the federal government. Not that I'm doing that right now, but I'm hoping that that will be a venture that I get into at some point soon.
Great.
Over.
Awesome. Next.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I'm Rose Korek. Everyone can hear me. I am a Gestalt certified coach, a member of the local ACC chapter, new one, haven't been many times, but and I am just launching my business now. I've been a coach for 2 years while I was closing my last business venture. So my tagline at the moment is a creative coach. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an artist, and I'm interested in working with women in aging. Interested from a marketing perspective, I have a list of actually over 7,000 women, and but they bought my clothes, my wearable art hand-dyed clothing. So it's a different story selling them coaching services. So I'm really trying to figure out how I can segue and into the list that I have and how I might leverage them. So thank you.
This is Tammy. Let me see if I can do my video. Maybe not. Here we go. So this is Tammy Lever, and I am I'm actually in the process of getting my certification to be a registered corporate coach. So I'm in the phase now of doing some coaching to get coaching hours to be able to take. I've been in human resources and organizational development for the past 25 years. So I have done a lot of internal business coaching during my career. So I'm not sure that I want to actually do a business in coaching. I'm actually trying to get a full-time job in HR and organizational development. But if I wanted to do this on the side, I thought maybe this would provide me some information. So that's why I'm online listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hi, I'll jump in. I'm Lois, and I became a registered corporate coach in 2005 and directed actually a corporate wellness program. I was certified by ICF several years ago, but then I ended up taking, I'm a minister as well, and I ended up doing an interim ministry in a church that was a really, really fascinating experience. I used a lot of coaching in it because for various reasons, but that has come to an end, and I want to get back into doing my coaching private practice. So one of the things that took a ton of energy, and I did a lousy job of marketing during those 3 years, and things kind of dwindled. So I'm ready to jump back in with a lot of energy.
Thanks, Lois.
Hello?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. My name is Jeff Pollock. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Cleveland ICF chapter is like my adopted chapter. Don't let that out, Zach, to the people in Columbus.
No worries.
The folks in Columbus, they can't see this recording, but Julianne and you. And then I moved from Youngstown back to Columbus. I do sales engagement coaching. Right now I'm working on a new topic called the listening deficit, and I'm out and doing public speaking. I'm speaking tonight on that. And I think I saw Dennis Deegan. He's an old friend. We met at an ICF chapter meeting probably 10 years ago. So it's good to see everybody and be present.
Thanks, Jeff. Kristen, are you out there? Kristen? All right, Daniel?
Hey, this is Dan. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Dan.
Fantabulous. Hi, Dan Simon. I've been coached out for formalized my business 5 years ago. And just recently completed certification in 2017.
Hey, Daniel, we really can't hear you. So I went ahead and muted. I think people who are coming in on the phone, we may or may not be able to hear you. I think we got Bob and Lori. Either one of you able to jump in and let us know who you are?
Yeah, I was on mute, but it's okay. You don't have to worry about me. I'm just listening to what everybody else needs to learn.
Cool. Well, Tina, thank you for joining us today. So with all of that, I will turn it over to you. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Zach, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Zach, why don't you stay unmuted as well? Does that work? Can we both be unmuted at the same time?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay, great. Okay, so welcome everyone. It's nice to hear about different people's career paths and how they've gotten into coaching. And I will say that how people get into coaching, it's usually not a first career choice. It's usually something that people do as a second, third, or even fourth career option. And so people come to coaching with a lot of different skill sets, backgrounds, and experience. And I can tell you a little bit about mine. The reason Zach asked me to do this call is that I have a 20-year background in marketing consulting and marketing leadership roles. And while I was doing that, I met with a lot of frustrated executives, chief marketing officers, highly qualified marketing directors, VPs, SVPs, and I always thought, I wish that I could help these people be happier in their professions. But here I am doing this consulting engagement, which could be an organizational design, a variety of different things. So that really got me interested in coaching. I started to learn more about coaching, and I pursued a coaching certification about 10 years ago. At that time, there was relatively very little on coach marketing, signature programs. There were very little tools for scheduling, very few referral sources. There was very little at that time 10 years ago. A lot more has been published. A lot more people have gotten into coaching. Now you think that because I have a marketing background, I would be able to quickly launch a coaching business. But the interesting thing is that when I went to coaching school, like many people, I gained a skill set in how to coach. I'm seeing a big screen, which I don't really want to see the big screen. Okay. I gained a skill set in how to coach, but I have a lot of marketing experience, but I didn't really have marketing experience for launching a solo business. And I hadn't really decided who I wanted to coach, what I wanted to coach them on, if I wanted to do corporate coaching, if I wanted to do marketing coaching, how I was going to kind of meld or use a hybrid of coaching and consulting experience. So what I did is my primary revenue stream was consulting, and I continued to do that. And like a number of people on the call, I continued to work in the area that was my primary revenue stream while I continued to learn about some skills and resources that could help me my coach, as well as I did some coaching on the side. So I don't want to say dabble, but that's probably what I did. I dabbled in a few niches. I thought I wanted to leave the corporate world and just do personal coaching and do kind of more of a spiritual coaching. So I did some personal and spiritual coaching on the side and on the weekends, and did webinars on that. So long story short, like many coaches, like some of you possibly on the call, I struggled to identify with clarity the audience that I wanted to reach with my coaching business, how I would help them, and the type of business that I wanted to build. The one thing that I was clear about is Zach mentioned that he was traveling at the beginning of the call. For those who were on it, Zach mentioned that he was doing a lot of traveling today to different locations. I had a vision of doing most of my coaching, 80 to 90% of my coaching, from my own office, working virtually. And that is where I am today. That's not where I was, say, 8 years ago or when I first started out, but most of my coaching is done virtually so that I could take my business with my phone, really with just my phone if I had to, but with my phone and computer anywhere I was traveling, and I could conduct a coaching session. And I use a lot of Skype. I'm not using Zoom as much, but I've occasionally used Zoom for calls. Most of my clients are more proficient with Skype. So that's a little bit about it. So what I wanted to ask people to do in the chat, if you kind of make your mouse move, then you will see at the bottom of your screen a chat option. If you'll click on that, you can see the Zoom group chat. And in the top, there is a Google link. If you click on that link, you will be able to see some documents that I'm going to be sharing with you. And these documents include success tips for coaches, kind of a coach clarity worksheet, establishing your niche, and getting client activities. So basically, part of doing good marketing, if you're a marketing professional, the first step is researching and identifying the need, understanding what you have to offer, your product and service, and understanding where the gap is in the market and how you can offer that service to clients. So it's a similar thing in the coaching arena or an entrepreneurial business. So I've just simplified these tools and made them very customized to coaches in terms of success tips, gaining clarity on the type of business you want to have, establishing your niche, and then some client getting activities to get started. And so, I don't know, do you want to add anything? I feel I'm talking into a vacuum because everyone is muted.
No, you're doing a great job, Tina, and thank you for the background, and also thank you for these resources. I'm sure this will be something very beneficial for everyone to take away. Do you want to maybe poll the audience here and see if there are particular marketing needs that need to be addressed?
Well, before I do that, I did take notes on the questions that people asked, so I can talk a little bit about that, and then we can also post them. So Rose, who is I may have this wrong, but it sounded like Rose was a Gestalt coach. She has 2 years experience. She's a creative entrepreneur, and she has a list of over 7,000 people. I'm wondering if you were with Art of Cloth. I don't know if we can.
Yes, I forgot that we were going to be. I didn't know if we were going to be on Zoom, so I'm not very decked out at the moment. But yes, I normally wear Art of Cloth. And you're familiar with Art of Cloth?
Yes. Oh, yes. I love the business. I love the business for years. I mean, your background does look very creative. I noticed you at the coaching meeting a few times ago when I happened to be there, but I didn't get to talk to you. So the 7,000 list that's a nice size list to have. Obviously, because of the GDPR rules, you would need to ask permission. You could send out an initial email to the people introducing yourself, a carefully crafted email announcing your new venture when you're ready. You may have already done that, and then giving them the opportunity to be on your new list.
Right. Well, I had I basically I had 1,200 women sign up for my new website, not even knowing what I was going to be doing, and so that's been sitting there for 3 months, which is what I'm working on my website my coaching website to launch. And then the 7,000 I will send out once I have my website up. Then I will send them an email asking them to join the new website. So I would not mark it on my old list, but I will invite them to come to the new.
Right. So lists have value, and there are certainly people you can have a 6-figure coaching income with a small list, because if you have repeat customers that are buying high-end packages from you and renewing, you can make, $100K. Charging $250 an hour for a certain group of clients at the corporate level. But a list has value in that if people are opening your mailings, it enables you to, once you get going, also be invited to partner with other people who may be interested in promoting their services or doing a joint webinar with you in order to have access to your list. So it not only has value for potentially giving you new clients, but it has value for getting you an introduction to someone else who might want to promote their list. And then, there's a whole sort of methodology around partnerships, offering kind of a referral or affiliate revenue stream for letting people promote a service or product to your list. So it's kind of a complicated marketing issue, which I don't want to address, but I'd be happy to talk to you for 30 minutes on the side, learn more about what you're doing, and tell you a little bit about that, and share with you some names of other coaches that are targeting creative people.
Oh, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for people that are pretty popular who are targeting creative people.
Oh, and when I'm calling myself a creative coach, I'm specifically not saying a creativity coach, because it's not just working with creatives. I consider the coaching process creative. So it's a little bit of a challenge to make sure I get the right right audience. So I'm not sure about the tagline yet, but that is my background as a creative, but I'm not necessarily going to be marketing only to creatives.
Got it. So the worksheet that I have can help you think through that. And, the worksheet that I have can help you think through that. And so I will just leave it at that. And I would ask you more questions specifically about what is it, how do you see yourself helping them? And that's going to be a key, how you see yourself helping them. So
I did not see the documents in the chat.
So if you scroll to the top of the chat, it's a drivegoogle.com. You need to click on that to open the documents.
It was listed on the top of my chat. There was no reference to Drive or Docs or anything.
I just reshared it, so if everyone tries again.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Very good. I'll unmute now. Thank you.
All right. There were a couple people who mentioned, I did not hear, there were some people I couldn't hear that well, but there were a couple people who mentioned that they were internal consultants and that they were interested in building a business on the side. And so many of the tips that I offer for getting started as a coach I have a success tips for coaches, and then I have client getting activities. So many of the activities that I mentioned there would be beneficial to somebody who is a corporate internal coach but wanted to start building a business on the side. The key thing is really getting clear about who your audience is, who you help, how you help them, what is the outcome that you provide. And so I have a worksheet on establishing your niche. So I'm a coach for this. For example, mine is I'm a career coach for achievement-oriented professionals who want to feel excited and motivated about their work again. And then, I go on to say that I help them leverage their strengths, build their confidence, and create a plan that positions them for success. So that little messaging can help me if I'm introducing myself at an event, a networking event, where I might meet people who need my help. So your messaging and positioning is a way for you to introduce yourself at networking events to your friends and acquaintances in an email so they understand how you help them. And the key thing that you hear very often is, well, coaching school basically teaches you how to coach anyone. So we can coach anyone on anything is the idea. However, that is not a believable promise to the eyes of most clients. Most clients are looking for a specialist to help them with a specific problem. So I'm curious to know if you feel that's true or if people have different thoughts about that. Yeah, so someone says broad message goes unnoticed in the marketplace. Right. So does someone want to ask a specific question before I get into some of the documents? Maybe people can type in, have people been able to open the documents?
I'd like to ask a specific question.
Sure.
So I have some background in personal brand message and niche marketing. My question to you would be, and everybody else might benefit from this, how narrow do you believe someone go in their niche. I could say I'm a sales coach, and that is still much too broad. I could say I'm a sales engagement coach, which is still pretty wide, or I could say I'm a coach that specializes in listening. The narrower you make your niche, the more of a specialist in your marketplace you are perceived to be. And I'm just curious what your take is on that.
So that's very good. So the idea is, do you have a market that you can find? Oh, let's keep Jeff facing me. Where'd Jeff go? So I was going to say, so the question is, how comfortable are you? If you go to a narrow market that you can find and attract and be the leader, so if you can be a big fish in a small, narrow market and capture that, that's very advantageous. Most people do not feel comfortable going that narrow. So as you open your business, coaching business, most people are a little broader, and then based on years of experience, they decide to go narrow, to go deeper into an area that they've become in and studied in, or they decide to go broader because it's about segmentation in marketing. So it's how do you want to segment your audience and market? And I guess it's up to you on what you track and measure to be effective for you and what you're passionate about. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, to me. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, since you're a sales, since you're in sales, the key to building a business is consistency. It's not necessarily being the best, being the most skilled, having the most credentials. It's about taking action on the client getting activities. So regardless of your niche, regardless of how narrow or wide it is, your tagline, if you're not taking action on your client getting activities, if you're not networking, if you're not building relationships, if you're not following up with referrals, then you will fail. Whereas someone who may not seem to be as qualified a coach as you, someone who may not be as experienced in your area or as highly credentialed, someone can succeed with less skills by taking more consistent sales actions or client getting activities. That makes sense. So the theme I would want to leave everyone with on that is gain clarity about who you want to coach, how you help them, and what you offer them. And once you're clear about who you want to help, then pick 2 to 3 activities that you want to continually do to get business and expand. And by picking a niche, whether it's narrow or somewhat wider, stick with something for 6 months to a year to get some traction. If you keep changing every month, you will not likely see traction, and there will be mixed messaging in the market. People won't really understand what you do. Someone have a question or?
And Tina, maybe that conversation leads into price point. Where do you set your price point on services offered, and how do you determine that?
That's a good question. So what do you think, Zach?
I'll leave it to the expert. I have my own thoughts on this.
No, I'm not. Price. Do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what type of coaching you're doing and the value that you place on your time and services. And then what do you bring to that coaching relationship? What are you Is it just a session, or are you available for ad hoc coaching? Are you providing resources outside of the session? So I guess it depends, what all is going into that package.
Mm-hmm. So that is true. So pricing, in some senses, pricing is a mindset game. So pricing is a mindset game. We often don't believe we are worth a certain price, or we may believe we're worth more. So that comes in pricing our services. It comes in salary negotiation as well. So there's both what the market will bear and what value you bring and what you believe you're worth. And I would say that what you believe you're worth can have the biggest impact, because even in down economies, people can price high for services with the same credentials that someone else will price less for. So when you're selling your coaching services, I would suggest seeing what the market rate is. The market rate for corporate coaching does tend to be higher than private one-to-one coaching. So, and also the time that people are willing to commit to for corporate coaching tends to be slightly longer than some private coaching. Now that's also an assumption, and it's a mindset belief. And if I buy into that, then that's, I'll act on that. But I know many coaches, and I cannot think of the name, but I will send you an email on it later that you can share. There are some coaches that totally go against that and charge high from the get-go. I will say that if you are choosing to have a high price point, you have to believe that your value is worth it. You have to deliver outcomes that are worth it, and you have to be you have to have an audience and a list of prospects. You have to be hanging where people who will spend that money hang. So you can't be hanging out or planning to help homeless people get a job, or homeless people do better nutrition, or homeless people dress better and expect that you're going to charge $1,000 an hour. You could help people with nutrition, or help people with their wardrobe and styling, or help people with careers and charge $1,000 an hour if you're working with celebrities. So part of it is the audience and who your clients are. Part of it is the service you offer, and part of it's mindset and what the market will bear. So I know that's very broad. So I do have some suggestions about pricing. I think, let's see, if we go to, maybe I don't. So suggestions on pricing. I think that before you start sharing your services or doing a comp session or a consultation, if that's one of the ways you plan to get business, you should be ready with a price or package for at least one item. So if you want to start off selling a short-term, what some people call a bite-size offer to clients, and make that an affordable price range to test what you're offering, and then do 10 of those successfully with 10 clients, then raise your prices, have a longer timeline that you work with people, have a bigger package. That can be one way for coaches to start out. So if you've never sold anything before, if this is your first time selling, it may not feel comfortable to start with a certain price. So start where you feel comfort, but check out the market pricing as well.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I missed that last part, Zach. I'm thinking you asked if there are any questions, and I do have one about that. Of course, the selling piece is hard for me. I'm not in that business and just haven't done that in my past. And I'm in a position where I can do some kind of pro bono work. And so I wonder what I love your idea about, kind of stepping into it easy and, and being prepared before you give anything away. But is there any other heads up you want to give if there is in my marketing plan, an opportunity to provide some kind of giveaway opportunities or pro bono work?
So explain what you mean by that. Pro bono for one client or for a corporation to do consulting?
Yeah,
or what do you
I'm not sure. I work a lot with the nonprofits in the area, and so I was thinking, the directorship rarely get an opportunity or the cash to be able to afford coaching. So working perhaps with maybe nonprofit leaders or people in the public sector in particular. So whether that looks like 1 or 10, I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What is too much of giving away your service?
So different people will have different thoughts on this. My thought and my experience, and people can speak differently. My thought and my experience is that people don't value what they get for free. And time again, I have experienced this. So I would provide a free consultation to help someone experience coaching. So it's a consultation where someone may come to you with a specific problem. If you want to help nonprofit board leaders, you could offer them as a special a 30-minute consultation. And during that time, you help them to gain some clarity or strategy regarding a specific issue that they may be struggling with. So it's kind of like a laser coaching session on a specific strategy issue, and you are able to start the conversation, what is the outcome that they would like for this call, and during this 30-minute call, you're going to help them with this 30-minute strategy, a pressing issue, and then you work through that. And then once they experience that what you've uncovered during the coaching conversation, to help them with this issue, and then you say, if you'd like to work with me more, this is how I work with people. And then you share your package. And I would be willing, if you're going to go nonprofit, to give them maybe a 20 or 30% discount for coaching. So if you compare it to corporate coaching, where someone might be doing corporate coaching 2 times a month, it could be $250 to $1,000 a session, depending on whether it's an independent corporate coach versus a corporate coach who is working via consulting firm. And so, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I would do. So I would offer the consultation for free. I might even do some sort of gateway, what I call gateway assessment tool. So if you have an assessment tool that you can implement for a corporation that helps them with team building, leadership skills, reducing stress, anything that would be common in the workforce, and then you offer to do that gateway assessment for 1 or 2 or 3 leaders, and then based on that, you deliver your results and you explain how you can help to improve the dynamics or reduce stress. So I'm a big believer in using gateway assessments. That's just what I'm calling them, kind of best practice assessment tools, either a canned tool or one that you created yourself that can help diagnose a problem, a solution, and share how you can help to create a positive outcome. That makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, she's getting a thumbs up. All right. Other questions?
Can I comment on that?
Sure,
Segment
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
This might help folks. So this summer I got involved in some social enterprise activities, and I like the term gateway.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're thinking about nonprofit stuff, that, you know, if you're going to tie pro bono work to it, you have to remember with these nonprofits who the centers of influence are and who the connectors are with the nonprofits. That's what I'm speaking to tonight as a nonprofit group. And normally the nonprofit board members are leaders. You pointed that out. And those folks are lead sources. And, you know, to build your business, which is where I'm at with it, having the opportunity to either work with one of those people one-on-one or speak to the board and do that sort of thing, it's incumbent upon you to leverage those lead sources. It's maybe not so much those people, but the people that they know that can benefit you greatly. And I have found the people that I know on nonprofit boards know lots of people. And if they hear you speak or they work with you a little bit in coaching, they're your best tool to help find more people like that. So you might want to talk about that.
I'll chime in there because I agree 100% with Jeff. I'm in the nonprofit world, and that's where I live and work and play. So I can attest to that. That if there is money in the nonprofit world, you have to learn how to target the board or the leadership, those maybe who are making those decisions on behalf of the organization. You know, even in the ministry world, and in the ministry world that I'm in, I can target the boards during transition and provide support to an incoming minister or pastor, and they'll commit to X number of dollars to support their pastor in transition. So there's opportunities there. Hey Tina, a question for you. Do you have any? And I know the answer to this, I think already, because I've heard your input on this. But for everyone else's sake, do you have any software that you would recommend to everyone?
Yeah, I do. You know, I have that. It's in the document. So I really, there's a couple things that really, the key things that helped me to catapult my business. One was go of some of my ego and my desire to my attachment to my 20-year marketing history. And it took me a long time to figure out what type of coach I wanted to be. And I landed on helping marketing coaches with their careers. And being a career coach was a big struggle for me because I didn't feel that a career coach was prestigious compared to the corporate organizational design work I had been doing. The thing is that I'm passionate about it. And so as I started helping more marketing professionals with careers, marketing professionals who wanted to get out of marketing and get into entrepreneurial roles, the more people I helped with the careers, the more people I helped. And now I do a wide range of business professionals, from CFOs, CMOs, not many CEOs, you know, SVPs of marketing, IT, mostly business professions. So once I landed on a clearer niche and let go of the marketing consulting work and focused on, if I don't have a client, I focus on client getting activities. And that doesn't mean learning something new about coaching. It literally means client getting activities. So those made a big difference. The other thing was automating. So I'm older. I was a pen and pencil person for many years. I fought to schedule things on Gmail, and I had to, it took me a year, almost 3 years, all my appointments via Gmail. I just wasn't raised in that environment, and I've worked in a boutique consulting firm. So I wasn't with a corporation that did that. So I did that. Then I So right now I use Acuity scheduling. I research a lot of scheduling tools. I know some people like Time Trade. There's many of them, Calendly, people like. I like Acuity. It was highly recommended. It's easy to use, $6 a month. And you can schedule your clients, you can schedule payment, you can even do intake forms. So with career clients, people can update their resume to me, they can update their LinkedIn profile, I can do pre-assessment forms on that, and I can see it all in my Acuity app. I can see my appointments for the day, I can see if people paid, and see my appointments for the week. I can look up a client if I want to remember and see their past history. So there's another more powerful tool that I originally learned about called, let's say it's Coach's Compass, Coach's Console. That's like $150 a month. It is a much more powerful tool if you want to offer signature programs through it, but it's much more complicated to use. So it's almost easier to have two software programs that you use if you're going to offer a signature program or an online learning module along with your booking and scheduling.
At Tina's recommendation in our chapter meeting, I started using Acuity.
Ooh.
And I love it. So I can tell you firsthand, it's so nice. Now you have to have your calendars synced right. I've had some, I didn't have all of my, like it didn't include travel in some of my appointments, and people are scheduling kind of too close, and I had to move some things around. But once I learned it, wow, there's a ton of flexibility. Love being able to do intake forms and everything up front. I don't have to send a million emails to get it. It does it all right when they book the appointment. They have, you can tell them that they have to pay when they book, or they can pay a deposit or a percent. I mean, it's so flexible. I love it. It's 15, I think it's like 15 a month or something like that. So yeah, much different than the other one you mentioned.
Other tools out there that I originally investigated and I paid for. I mean, I paid for some very expensive tools when I first got started. So I would say before paying for any expensive tools, marketing techniques, training, check with people at the Coaching Federation and really, make sure, it's likely that someone has tried it and it either worked for them or it didn't. And so don't be that guinea pig for a program that costs more than $1,000. I mean, there's definitely going rates for certifications and things. Rose, you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to unmute.
You're on mute, Rose.
Unmute. There we go. I just wanted to share that I'm working on my website in Squarespace, and when I signed up for Acuity, which is what I selected, they have a direct link to it, and it's free. So it was just kind of cool. I bet it's
No.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know people who have very good luck with Squarespace. I'm using a WordPress website and I've used one for a long time, so that works for me. But I know people who use Squarespace, especially a lot of creatives, and it's a very, powerful tool. And I like that it has, that link. That's great. I know we don't have that much time, but I did want to quickly walk through the handouts. So the success tips for coaches, those are my kind of success tips, but they're also gathered from information of having followed many kind of trending marketing, coaching gurus over the years. The Coach Clarity worksheet, again, it's my worksheet, but you'll see many similarities to other things that are out there. And a key about that is, what are you really trying to build? So for me personally, I'm building a business that I can run well into my, retirement as long as I want. I can work this business as many hours as I want. I am not trying to build a multi-level marketing organization. Some of the six-figure coaches out there, they say six figures, they could even be million-dollar coaches. They have engines keeping them going. They're employing a lot of people. They're using expensive software. My business model is very simple people. So I'm able to take 6 figures in a simple manner, and I'm able to dial that down or dial that up based on my vacation and the way I have scheduled. So it is possible to do that without spending a lot of money, with some basic tools and marketing material, a website, a bio, a pricing sheet, and clarity about how you help people. So with that, I have the Establish Your Niche worksheet and a fill in the blank about your niche. I'm a coach for this type of person. Describe your ideal client as clearly as you can, who want to describe what they want, and the closer your words, the better, to have a certain outcome. And I could do a whole session on helping people, with that and discussing niches. I mean, that can be an hour-long session on getting more narrow. And then client getting activities, just starting out, emailing friends. These are a lot of simple ways to build your business. But the 3 biggest things that I think help are networking in person or face-to-face. Even if you plan to build an online business, I did do networking in person. I've done speaking engagements to, the marketing organization, to women's organization, to get some clients. And I also partner with other career coaching firms to get business. So you may find a partner that benefits you, that helps you to develop. But networking, speaking, and partnering, I think, are the 3 biggest things to help businesses. And then being consistently following up with clients. If you don't hear from a client for a month, they didn't take your offer, they didn't buy a package. And if you check in with them 3 weeks later, 2 months later, 6 months later, I have had people sign up with me a year later, contact me. So developing and nurturing your leads ongoing can result in coaching opportunities, because it's likely that someone who came to you initially, they may not have solved the problem 6 months later, 9 months later, a year later, 2 years later. So they may still need help. So no now does not mean no later in sales, just saying I like that. So Jeff said, yeah. So it's always changing. And then there's some advanced things that you can do. Like if you have a big list, like Rose mentioned, if you have a big list, that opens you up to even greater opportunities to partner with other people and to have different pricing and sell things different ways. So I talk about that when you're continuing to build a full practice, you only have so much time. So other ways that people can increase their revenue is charge more. So once you have a full practice, you can charge more, and that can increase your revenue. You can offer group coaching. So the same service that you're offering 1 hour to one person, you could offer 1 hour to 10 people in a group in a 6-month program. You can have a price for that. You could offer an e-learning module that you pay for. So a do-it-yourself module for people who may not want to pay for one-to-one coaching, or people who may not want to, there's some introverts who feel uncomfortable having a coaching conversation. They'd much rather, read a book, learn about it, do a module on their self, a self-directed do-it-yourself program. And then once they've been on your list for a while, then they might sign up for you. So, and obviously writing a book, can help you to gain exposure and get more clients down the road. But you don't have to do anything to be successful in your business. There are people who only speak, and they build 6-figure plus coaching businesses through speaking and networking. And I primarily built my business online. So I do online activities. It took me a while to get the systems in place, but that's where I am at right now. Any questions as we end?
Awesome. Any last input or questions from anyone?
I had one other question about packages. How can you get information about how to put together packages? I mean, I certainly have heard of them, you know, high-end premium packages, but are there resources to sort of know what options could be, should be for those?
Yes. So if you want to, I'm going to type, my email's on the documents, but this is my email. So if you want to send me an email and just like put like some of your questions, I can probably direct you to some resources. So some of the resources that are available online to coaches are not necessarily by certified coaches. They may be by online marketers who are targeting coaches. But there is a lot of information, good information that you can get for free by opting in or listening to a webinar. That doesn't mean you have to purchase their $1,000 or $5,000 program. But I do have some information about pricing different packages. For most people, it's a test of what works for you. You know, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tina, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Appreciate that. Our coaching conversation webinars happen the first Thursday of every month from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. So feel free to share and get the word out about those. And then you can always check our ICF Cleveland website on that. And a lot of great things coming up. So thank you so much. Have a great day. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email. And we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks,
Thank you
Tina.
very much. It was very good. Thank you.